I'm Miles Bramman, and this is the 2019 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. It is the Mac Daddy, the most powerful Corvette ever made. Should we take a look? Yeah, I think so. Boom goes the dynamite. Look at this thing. Freaking vicious. Especially in this magnetic gray paint job and with the ZTK Track Package, aka giant rear wing. Certainly the most exotic looking vet, the most attention grabbing. Drive it around, you feel like you're driving a supercar. You get over the fact that you've got a street racer style rear wing because you know it's effective. All right, anyway, let's talk about the ZR1, what it means for the history of Corvette. First of all, we don't know what's going on with the next generation Corvette. We don't know whether the C8 is going to be all mid-engine, whether it's just going to have a special edition mid-engine. We're not sure, but we do know that this is the most powerful and complete packaging for the front engine Corvette to date. And so we have to appreciate what it's achieving here. The ZR1 is effectively turning the dial up on the Z06's aerodynamics and power and track handling capability. They're doing that in a few different ways. One big metric that you have to point out is that this car has 40% better cooling than the Z06. And you've probably heard that some Z06 owners took their cars to the racetrack and had heat soak and other issues related to bad heat management. The ZR1 has 13 heat exchangers, and as I said, it has much better cooling. Some of that is accomplished by opening up this front lower fascia of the car. They've got more air going through it. They've got a aerofoil that's racing derived that's under this front splitter, and it helps channel air up through this duct in the hood and over the car, all helping it stay cool while achieving some crazy speeds. 0 to 60 in this car, 3 seconds. Some have seen even less than that, and a top speed of 212 miles per hour. And the crazy thing about that is you see that big rear wing back there and you're thinking, that's going to be a ton of drag, but they've set it up such that it's bolted straight to the chassis and it's creating downforce while not creating as much drag as the level 3 performance pack on the Z06, which was a wing that was just coming off the trunk lid. So that's really impressive, the aerodynamic technology that they have on this car. Really neat stuff. Let's check out these wheels here because I think this is one of the coolest wheel designs certainly I've seen on any Corvette yet, but I think on honestly any modern sports car. It's simple and yet stands out quite a bit, especially in this satin finish. And of course, in there you see the carbon ceramic brakes. Those are standard on the car, and they're effectively the same ones that you get on the most hardcore version of the Z06. They work very, very well. This particular car, as I said, also it has the ZTK Track Pack, but it also has some exterior and interior details that make this particular version about $140,000. The car starts at $122,000, but it's quick. It's very easy to add on niceties and make it a very expensive car. At the rear, honestly, I mean, it's hard to get over this rear wing. Big carbon fiber wing, has 2 positions. The more aggressive of the positions is adding 5 degrees and helps the car generate 950 pounds of downforce when you're achieving the car's 200 plus mile per hour top speed. That's significant downforce. And even though I haven't taken this one to the track, you can even feel it around town as you're pushing the car harder. The downforce that's being created by that big front splitter and the rear wing is real. You can feel it. The back of the car, apart from that wing, looks very similar to the Z06. Of course, you got ZR1 badging, again with those blue accents, same as those brake calipers. Looks really good. Carbon fiber side sill running along the car. Carbon fiber air extractors behind the front wheels. And then this hood is painted carbon fiber. So when I pop that, you'll be able to see it. and I will do that now. These are just like the Z06, helping direct the air over and around the car. Not much to look at when you pop the hood, because it's all covered up under that carbon fiber engine cover. But we do know that under there is Chevy's LT5 generation 6.2 liter V8. It's making 755 horsepower. That's 105 more than the Z06, and it's 715 pound-feet of torque. Of course, all going to those rear wheels, which are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires if you get the ZTK Performance Pack, and they're 355 section at the rear. That is so wide, so wide. These are effectively slicks for the street. If you're driving in the rain, you're gonna have to be very careful because things get sketchy. And the large part of that power, there's some internals done to the engine. It's an LT4 based engine that they kind of modified, but the big news is the larger Eaton supercharger has 14 psi as opposed to the Z06's 9 psi. Makes a huge difference. So much power. And here you can get a look at the carbon fiber work on the hood. Just love the window through. Super cool. They made it that much more cool compared to the last generation ZR1, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I mean, the power, 640 horsepower, was quite a bit at the time, but it just didn't have the same visual impact as this one does. This one also has the competition sport seats. Backs are made from carbon fiber, and they've got more aggressive side bolstering. This one has carbon fiber inlays for the dash, carbon fiber wheel with Alcantara inserts for the wheel and the seats, blue stitching throughout. Really feels extra special. This one is the standard 7-speed manual transmission. You can pay a little more and get an 8-speed automatic, but why would you do that? Unless you're really going for lap times. This is the fun way to have this car. It's just so engaging to row your own gears. Ton of fun. I'll fire it up. So you have the analog speedometer on the left, digital tach front and center, and the view changes a bit as you go through the drive modes. Tour, Sport, and then Track. Basically just the color changes, honestly. It's not like some cars like the McLaren 720S where it changes to a completely horizontal tach. Not as exciting. But the way the car behaves changes dramatically as you shift through those modes. One, in Tour, the baffles and the exhaust are much more muted. The car is really very quiet and easy to drive. Once you jump up to Sport, those baffles open up. It gets much louder, much more exciting. You've got your rev match, turning it on or off via the left and right paddle. Those are not changing gears. This is a manual transmission car. Those are just turning on the rev match feature. I love the details in this car. I mean, it feels so much nicer than previous generation Corvettes. Certainly the fit and finish leaves something to be desired compared to supercars, but at $122,000 to start, for this much power, there's nothing that even comes close to it. And the updated MyLink infotainment system is much better, much easier to use. This one has heated and cooled seats, which work very well. Tested those out. The throws of the gearbox are short and sweet. My only issue with it is that third and fifth gear, the gates are just really close to one another. You can make the mistake, you train yourself out of it, but you can make the mistake of going into fifth when you mean to go into third, and hopefully not vice versa, but mostly just upshifting is that's an issue. Kind of cheap little cup holders here. You can turn off traction control. You can do it in two stages. You turn off traction control or you do both, turning off traction control and electronic stability control. More Alcantara surfacing here. A big rear tray for luggage, although it's very shallow, not a lot of height here, so you can't fit too much stuff there. This is a T-top model. There's a convertible ZR1 with obviously all of the hardcover removed, but this is the T-top, so this panel up here comes out. It's also made of carbon fiber, so it's very light, but you do have to find a place to store it. You can easily just put it right back here. It fits neatly into the cargo bay. Makes a nice noise. I'll run through those performance numbers once again. 0 to 60, less than 3 seconds. Top speed, 212 miles an hour. Starts at 122,000 bucks. 6.2 liter LT5 V8 engine, supercharged. Makes 755 horsepower, 715 pound-feet of torque. It is an absolute monster. Sophisticated aerodynamics that add downforce while cutting the drag that the Z06 had some issues with. You can have it in 2 flavors. You can have this big, well, the front splitter is kind of standard on both cars, but these side pieces are removable on the ZTK Track Pack, these pieces right here. And then the standard ZR1 doesn't have this big fixed rear wing. It just has a wing that comes off the bumper, more aggressive than this lower one here. But this is really the way to go. This is how you make that impact. Just a mean car. If this is it for the front engine Corvette, this is a hell of a way to go out. All right, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned something.